Hi, I am Ruth Dempsey. I am a PhD scientist and a member of doTERRA's European Scientific and Medical Education Committee. I am passionate about educating people on their best lifestyles based on the most appropriate scientific research. This is obviously why doTERRA's research is always really important to me. Through the past few years of learning about all the scientific research doTERRA carries out and of meeting more and more of their scientists and their research partners, I have learnt to trust that they will always bring to market the best products that science and technology can provide. So obviously, when doTERRA first told me about their new MetaPWR product line, I had a pretty strong feeling that this was going to be something special. And quite frankly, it is. Now, I should give you full disclosure at this point. I am not a medical doctor and I am not an expert in metabolic health. Indeed, when I first heard about these products, I had to do a fair amount of catch-up reading myself to refresh my knowledge on metabolic pathways and the impact they may have on health. However, having worked in tobacco research for over 30 years, I do know a lot about lifespan, health span, and what is often referred to as DALYs, or disability-adjusted life years. So let's start there. Now bear with me, it is connected and all will become clear. So let's take a brief look at lifespan and health span in Europe. The latest available statistics in Europe tell us that in 2020, the number of healthy life years at birth was estimated at 64.5 years for women and 63.5 years for men. Now that sounds okay at first glance, but when you realise that the actual life expectancy is considerably longer, at 83.2 years for women and 77.5 years for men, what does that mean? That means that on average, only about 80% of a European's life is fully healthy, i.e. without health limitations or what they call disability-free. Comparing this to another statistic indicating that only around 20% of Europeans are metabolically healthy, much of those limited years seem to come from an age-associated decline in metabolic health. Although we could argue that this is a natural consequence of aging, the truth is that we know that there are lots of things that we can and should do in our daily lives to improve or protect our metabolic health and to decrease that portion of our lifespan that is limited by health issues. Exercising more, eating well, reducing stress, being surrounded by supportive communities are amongst the most prominently researched contributors. The scientific research on the benefits of healthy exercise routines are prolific. Though some of the research in the past has emphasised somewhat daunting targets for exercise, such as 1 hour of intensive cardiopulmonary exercise 3 times a week, etc., it is quite a relief to me, and I suspect many others, that more recent research shows the biggest benefits come from rather modest changes. I think the key here is to find an exercise routine that you can maintain. Almost all of us could benefit from moving more and from finding healthy exercise routines that suit us. And of course, there are many doTERRA oils and products such as the Deep Blue range, Air, Peppermint amongst others that can help to support your choice of healthy exercise. Reducing stress is also imperative, though admittedly again not so easy to control for many of us. However, a lot of research these days shows how mindfulness practices, meditations and breathwork can have positive impact on health in general, including getting a good night's sleep, which is also part of reducing stress and very important for maintaining good health. And again, of course, there are many of doTERRA's essential oils that can support you in all of these practices. Now, when it comes to healthy relationships, many people are surprised that I include these in the list. But you would be amazed at some of the research on the longest lived communities in the world, the so-called blue zones. These are populations in the world who have the largest proportion of centenarians, that's people living to 100 years or more. Many of these communities have flummoxed scientists for years, and there was no obvious reason for their extended longevity. But one of the common themes in all of these areas has been the strength of the community and the relationships between them. Simple things like respect for the elders in a community and the importance of having a role that is valued has been seen to have a very positive impact on many of the biological functions that facilitate healthy aging. Fewer people will be surprised to learn of the role that good, healthy eating has on our health. Various healthy diets have been researched and recommended over the years, and although research does indicate some specific benefits of one diet over another, such as the Mediterranean, vegan, paleo, keto, to name but a few, basically just like exercise, it all comes down to finding the right diet for you that provides you with the balance of micro and macronutrients that your body requires and that you enjoy enough to maintain it, and that can be quite personal. One other element contributing to prolonging the healthy part of our lifespan, which I would like to spend a little time on now, is smart supplementation. To be honest, before I tried doTERRA's Lifelong Vitality combination, I was not a great believer in supplementation. But once I tried it, I realised what a difference it makes, in some way compensating for the depletion in micronutrients that even the best diet has these days. I hadn't realised the impact that depletion in the nutritional content of our diets could have on my day-to-day health and energy levels. I certainly wouldn't be without my LLV now. But I'm not here today to talk about LLV. doTERRA has, as always, invested sound scientific research to develop a new range of additional supplements that complement the LLV and that will support you with all those daily activities I talked about earlier to improve your metabolic health. MetaPWR has such a wide range of elements that it is hard to know where to start. But since doTERRA is fundamentally an essential oil company, let's start with the MetaPWR Essential Oil Blend. This is basically doTERRA's Smart and Sassy version 2.0. It has the same combination of oils, grapefruit, lemon, ginger, cinnamon, and peppermint, but in modified proportions. And this new formulation has been based on some beautifully elegant laboratory-based science showing how this blend in particular influences cultured adipocytes, that is fat cells grown in petri dishes, to reduce the amount of fat they accumulate in a process called adipogenesis. I should emphasise that this is a laboratory-based experiment, and it's hard to know exactly how this will manifest itself in the human body. However, it is interesting to see the amount of research that went into trying lots of different combinations of these essential oils, including looking at each one individually and seeing how the perfect combination in the perfect proportion works better than any of the individual oils. Perhaps more importantly, however, is that this blend tastes simply beautiful. I find a drop in my water during the day has been wonderful at curbing those between meal cravings for sugar that I usually have, and so support me, of course, in maintaining a more healthy nutritional balance on a day-to-day basis. And the research on the other elements of the MetaPWR range are just as powerful, if not more so. The MetaPWR Advantage Collagen and NMN preparation has been carefully researched to provide marine collagen in a format that is highly effectively absorbed by the body, in stark contrast to many other collagen preparations on the market whose bioavailability can be very limited. Preliminary research on NMN, along with other components in the MetaPWR Advantage range, indicates it is effective in increasing circulating NAD+ levels. MetaPWR Assist contains a brilliant combination of mulberry leaf extract, berberine, and cinnamon powder. So all the elements are supported by great laboratory research and are now being studied more extensively in clinical research. The more I found out about these products, the more convinced I am that they have a huge potential to support you in your activities towards great metabolic health. But I want to be clear. They are not a replacement for healthy exercise, healthy eating, good relationships, and reducing stress. They may help you realise the benefits of the changes you make more effectively in these areas, but there is no magic bullet. You do need to have to put in some effort. Nevertheless, even though I rely heavily on the scientific research behind such products, scientific research can only go so far. Everyone is different, and scientific research will always tend towards looking at the impact on the average or surrogate populations. What really counts is undoubtedly your own personal experience. So let me take the last few minutes to tell you about my own personal experience with MetaPWR. I am very privileged to be working so closely with doTERRA, so much so that I had the benefit of being able to try these products out much earlier than most. I didn't have huge expectations of feeling enormously different, to be honest, since I view caring for my metabolic health as a long-term investment. But somehow I was pleasantly reassured to feel some distinct and positive differences in several aspects of my life and well-being that I'm happy to share with you now. Firstly, my ability to focus and concentrate seems notably improved. I've had some pretty demanding challenges on my plate over the last few months, and I have been relieved to find I can face them effectively and without feeling as drained and exhausted as I often used to feel, particularly in the afternoons. I was also curious to see if there would be any improvement in the strength of my knee joints, having read some articles about collagen and joint pain. I have some weakness in both my knees, but particularly in my left knee, to the extent that if I am carrying heavy loads up or down stairs, I tend to lead with my right knee to reduce the pain and impact on my weaker knee. I honestly didn't realise there was a change at first, but rather gradually I feel that I am no longer needing to make that compensation. I still notice my left knee is weaker than my right knee, for example when doing some of my morning yoga poses, but I'm hopeful that it is getting gradually stronger, and I'm looking forward to the day when I may suddenly realise it's no longer an issue. And so let me close with these thoughts. Your metabolic health, like all of your health, is to a large extent under your care and control. There are lots of things that you can do to improve your metabolic health, both short-term and long-term. Taking the steps may seem daunting, but even the smallest improvements in exercise, diet, stress control, healthy relationships, and supplementation can bring you great benefits. It seems clear to me that doTERRA have applied scientific research very effectively to develop the new line of MetaPWR products, and these products really can help to make the impact of those small changes feel even better for you. I really hope you enjoy adding MetaPWR to your doTERRA supplement regime every day. And I look forward to hearing more and more stories from people about how this and other doTERRA product lines bring positive impact to many lives. Thank you, doTERRA.